I think we have some folks who believe you. Yeah, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for supporting the choir in that piece. The next piece that we'll do before we finish this set is entitled Agnus Dei, which is Latin, a Latin piece from the Latin Mass. And Agnus Dei is a wonderful text that can be used in many denominations, but you particularly in Catholic and Anglican worship will hear, Lamb of God, you take away the sins of the world, have mercy on us. Lamb of God, you take away the sins of the world, have mercy on us. Lamb of God, you take away the sins of the world, grant us peace. So this is a gospelized version of that Latin text, and so you'll hear it build and build. The choir will continuously sing, Agnus Dei qui tollis peccata mundi, which is Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world, miserere nobis, have mercy on us. And then the third time through, they'll say, Dona nobis pacem, which is grant us peace, and the peace continues to sort of build. So we hope that you feel the energy and the spirit of this piece as we sing through the Latin text. Agnus Dei.
as the choir rests a little bit, we invite, at this point, we invite y'all to think about what this means for you and for the community. It's kind of a hard time to be living. I mean, we are sort of, post-COVID in so many ways, and we're so grateful for that. But it's just hard to be in the world sometimes. And I feel like music and the arts are some of the things that keep bringing me back, I would say, again, to God, but to something that is bigger than me, something that is more good than I am, something that gives me hope and joy. And I know that y'all are all here because you believe that too. So if we want to keep this kind of joy and hope for the world, and if you're like me, you probably agree that the world could use a little more joy and hope and music and art. If we want to keep this going, we do need support for it. So if you're feeling moved, if you feel the Spirit moving in your pocketbooks, you can pull them out. And we would so be grateful. So I hear somebody jingling the change. We would be so grateful, and the community would be as well, because once again, this will kind of keep something sustaining that is good and hopeful in the community. So we can do checks, we can do cash. If you do have a checkbook and you'd like to write a check, you can make it out to, what is it, Kathy? Greenwich Choir. That is Greenwich Choir, 2 words. And we will, again, be so grateful for that. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Tom DiGiovanni. I'm the music director here at Old Greenwich, and I'm so happy that y'all are here. We decided that we need to know more about Rollo. So this is going to be a little ad hoc interview. Why don't we go? Tom? Yeah. The hard-hitting questions. All right, and we're going to just trade the microphone because we have one really awesome microphone. I have notes. Look out, Rollo. All right. We want to know about young Rollo Dilworth. So, tell us about your childhood. Everything from kindergarten on.
You want to know about my childhood? Well, let's see, that was only but 3 years ago, so I don't have to go too far back.
This is not an hourly rate, brother.
Oh, okay. I was born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. I am from the Show Me State. I have lived here in Philadelphia in the Philadelphia area. I shouldn't say here because I'm not exactly here in Philadelphia, but in the Philadelphia area since 2009. I had an amazing elementary music education, which is probably why I'm doing what I am today. And like many people who have careers in music, they start out in schools and in the church. And so I was a little church choir kid, a little school choir kid, and continued to be nurtured by amazing music teacher and support of family, and that has allowed me the opportunity to do what I do today, which is to be a music educator no matter where I go. So pretty excited to still be doing that after 32 years.
Awesome. So clearly you went to college. You have a master's degree and a DMA. Where'd you do university? Where was your first? How'd you decide on that university?
So first, my undergraduate is from Case Western Reserve University with a joint program with the Cleveland Institute of Music, where I majored in music education. And I moved back from Cleveland to teach middle school in St. Louis, Missouri for 4 years full-time. And I worked on my master's at the University of Missouri, St. Louis, and then taught for 1 more year full-time. Then I did my doctorate at Northwestern University in Chicago, Evanston, Illinois. So a lot of Midwestern bouncing around.
Nice. Hey, have you ever had to use your doctor title in a way that maybe, is there a doctor in the house or anything like that?
Well, usually when I hear that call, I try not to let anybody know I have a doctorate in anything. Because I don't want to be called on to do that. But not in that sense. But I mean, I certainly, there are times when people sort of insist on using that title to be respectful to me, but I honestly, unless I'm sort of in the university setting where it's kind of expected, I don't really use it that much.
Hey, so one of the things that interests me, I don't know if you know this or not, Rollo Dilworth is probably like the most sought after clinician around the country today. We're super lucky to have him here. And yeah, fantastic, right? You have more state festival choirs to do, because I think you've probably done most of them. All the major professional choirs in the country, Rollo's been invited as a guest conductor. So when we see someone this successful, I think that the most difficult thing is like, yes, there's a buildup of technique and skill and education, and the break is kind of about luck meets opportunity. But what made you decide? Was there a piece that you wrote that got you discovered? Was there someone knocking down your door? Did you have to make 100 phone calls? How did that moment happen when you realized, like, oh wow, I have either something published or I'm being recognized for composition in a non-academic world? I'm a middle school teacher, and suddenly I'm writing stuff that other middle school choirs are singing, and I'm not there.
Well, it was an interesting opportunity for me as a middle school teacher to write and arrange for my students, because I needed to I couldn't often find music that would fit them in terms of where they were in their musical and vocal development. So that's how I started doing this more and more. I was always tinkering with arranging music and writing things when I was in elementary school, but the rubber started to hit the road when I had to put some of those skills into action, sometimes in the middle of a rehearsal with middle school students. And then I went off to Northwestern, and somehow some folks in the Chicagoland area found out that I was a composer and arranger, and I got my first commission work. And that was in 1997. That piece premiered the next year in 1998, and there was someone in the audience who sort of discovered my ability to write, and that piece that was being performed with the support of that person was sent off to Hal Leonard Publishing Company, and that piece was accepted for publication in October of 1998. And so, for those of you who remember when that was, and so that was my first publishing contract, and I've been writing music and having music published for the last 23, almost 24 years.
Yes.
It's been really exciting. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. That's awesome. All right. So, Rollo and I met yesterday, and it's super clear that, we've had a lot of fantastic composers here, and all of them professional composers and conductors. And Rollo's one of the few that has a real foot in education, and education is, as you know, is super important to him. Can you speak to your role of that and what you do at Temple University now? We know you direct a choir, but nobody knows what else you do at Temple. I know your title is Vice Dean, right? Awesome. That means you're the dean that's in a vice a lot of times. Is that how that works? So anyway, just speak to your music ed role at Temple just for a moment.
Sure. So that's funny. So my role has changed over the last 13 plus years that I've been at Temple, but I started at Temple in 2009 as a professor of choral music education, where I taught undergraduate students mainly methods classes, vocal choral methods classes, in terms of helping them to become future music educators. And I taught a choir at that time, and I became department chair, and then the last 3.5 years I've been something called Vice Dean, which basically means I put in a lot of reports and put out a lot of fires, I guess. But it's actually been an amazing role because I'm still teaching. I teach students privately, as well as teach my campus community course on Tuesday nights, and next semester I will be teaching a graduate level class called Teaching Music in Higher Education. So I love teaching, and that's at the core of who I am and what I do. I also find it pretty exciting to have the opportunity in an administrative role to be at the table to influence policy and to continue to help us to make changes so that our institution and our curriculum is as meaningful and as inclusive and as relevant as it needs to be for the 21st century.
Straight out of the course catalog there at the end. That was nice for the 21st century learning skills. Nice, excellent. No, but seriously, Rollo he's been writing a lot of gospel music, gospel inspired music, and when you have a publishing company, they kind of like, hey, Rollo Dilworth, he's our gospel guy. If we have this tune we want done, he's our guy, right? So here's the question: if you were invited to conduct something, maybe a master work or something, because we have a lot of choir people who have sung a lot of the repertoire here over the course of their life, and I'm sure you've done tons of serious rep from the 1800 Germanic tradition. But if you had your choice for, say, 2 weeks from now, or maybe we'll give you 2 months, we'll give you some time to prep. If you had any one of those pieces that you wanted to throw down at a really awesome performance, you can't choose one of your own though.
Okay. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, sure. There are a lot of good pieces out there. Well, it's interesting because I was talking to someone earlier who said that she last encountered me when I conducted the Brahms Requiem for the Berkshire Choral Festival. And there is something, it is probably one of the most powerful pieces I've ever studied and conducted in my life. I think that if I had a past life, it was probably during the age of Romanticism when all of that dramatic stuff was going on musically. And that would be that's my go-to exciting and dramatic pieces of music I think I've ever encountered.